Good evening and welcome to Active Citizens Parliament. My name is Sharon Chuku. Joining me live in the studio, I have with me my co-host Ifoma Oji. Good evening, and how are you doing?
Good evening, Sharon. Good evening, Nigerians. I'm doing great.
All right, we're diving straight to the stories for this evening. We're going to take a look at a video from Senate President Godswill Akpabio addressing Nigerians. So let's have a look at that video.
Well, a lot of provisions in the amended act would definitely make Nigerians very happy. We did a very thorough job, very painstaking. We took cognizance of the peculiarities of the country. We did not allow too much outside interference, and we're very patriotic in our submissions. And at the end, we believe strongly that what the President has just assented into Act of Parliament will make for a better election in the future and will also lead to prosperity and will also lead to transparency of the electoral process. At the end, Nigerians will benefit a lot from future elections. Every vote will now count.
So how have you been able to reconcile the concerns of Nigerians that they raised before the concurrence?
Well, I think all Nigerians wanted was that in the IREF portal, which is a kind of viewing center of the outcome of most of the polling unit results, that they would like to see that transmitted electronically. We have included that in the amendment that has just been signed into Act of Parliament. But we also took cognizance of areas where there may not be any network, where there may not be communication capacities and availability. And we said, since the polling unit result comes in Form EC8A, which is signed by the presiding officer, signed by the agents, and signed and in the presence of security agents, copies are given to all. Then we can use that as the primary source of collation at that unit. And then, of course, we transmit it, even if there is no network at that time. Once we step out of there, maybe towards the ward center or the local government center, it will drop into the IREF, and people will still be able to view. The implication of that is that if what is eventually collated at the next center is different from what is in the IREF, Nigerians will be able to compare whether the election result had been tampered with. And for us, that had always been the problem in the country, that once election result leaves a polling unit, it will be tampered with or mutilated. That has been eliminated today. So we are satisfied that we have met the aspiration of Nigerians. That the issue of real time also comes in. Once you transmit, even if there is no network at that time, once you go to where there is network, it will still drop. So eventually everything will still be shown. So we are happy and satisfied that we have been able to interpret the intentions and the yearnings of majority of Nigerians, not those who are politically motivated, not few people who make noise. Noise is different from lawmaking. And I always say, no matter what we did in the last 2 years, we went to retreat in Lagos, we went to retreat in Ibadan, everywhere. Those things were just mere consultations. The final outcome of what was amended happens in the plenaries of both chambers. And we felt in the last 1 month that we have done a lot. And even the Senate, for instance, we sacrificed even the holidays. The Mr. Speaker had to call back members who were on a bit of a break from plenaries, from budget sessions, to come back and undertake this all-important national assignment. That's why I said we are very satisfied that going forward, we are going to have more transparent election. This has never happened since 1960. We have never had electronic transmission of results in any of our laws. We never even recognized the IREF in the 2022 Act. All those things are now there. And at the end of the day, more powers are given to political parties, that they should decide who their candidates are. And above all, participatory democracy, more inclusiveness. Members of different political parties are now allowed to do direct primaries. That means you can choose the person you want. Delegate selection, of course, one person can write the list and then just submit. But this time around, the members who are in the political party will stand up and vote for their candidates and the candidates of their choices. That some people don't understand that it is not even good that in an election you have 5 people contesting. One person scores out of 300,000 votes. One person scores 290,000. and then for one reason or the other, he's disqualified by the court. And then the person who scored 1,000, who is not popularly elected, will now be declared a winner. All those things are eliminated. We have now recommended that where such a case happens, then you should call for another election. And that also comes even with the governorship election, where somebody who scores the second highest vote may not meet the 2/3 of the spread of the requirements in local government and will be declared a winner. No, we don't want that kind of situation. We want something that will help Nigerians to truly elect their leader.
Ifoma. We've seen that video, and the fact that Akpabio has said that they have met the aspirations of Nigerians and they are pleased and satisfied with what they've done and with how swiftly the president passed into law that particular bill. And, you know, he also made mention of the fact that we have some people who are just noisemakers, who were politically motivated, and it's not about making noise, but about making laws that would help the lives of Nigerians positively. Just generally defending the Senate's stance on the Electoral Act reform bill that was passed into law just yesterday by the president. What do you agree with Senate President Akpabio?
Thank you, Sharon, for the question, first of all. The only aspiration I see them meeting up to is their stomach adjustment program. And the only transparency, because he talked about Nigerians having transparent elections, the only transparency I'm seeing here is the transparency of, you know, a clarified rigging, which will happen in 2027. But I'm happy that Nigerians are already, they've seen the handwriting on the wall. They've seen the entire thing, the scheme of both the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary against 2027 election. And I'm just going to say a few things because I feel like we've literally said a lot of things.
We have done our best.
I swear, we've literally said a lot of things concerning this, but Nigerians have come out to nullify all the excuses, including network. You talked about network not being in so many communities or so many states. Nigerians have nullified it by telling you that some people are even willing to provide 3G, 4G, even 5G networks. Nigerians are telling you that the INEC have already brought out budget for 2027 election. Why not use some of those budget? Because about 200 billion naira was budgeted for technology. Why not use that money now to make sure that you procure Starlink to ensure that there is credible election in all the polls in Nigeria? And INEC too have not come out to tell you that we cannot offer Nigeria free and credible elections. They've come out as at 8 years ago. They've conducted, I said it in the morning show, they conducted a survey and they said that they can actually deliver, you know, up to 93 to 95% electronically transmitted election results. So why is it that INEC, why is it that the Senate President and the National Assembly are the ones fighting? At this point, they're not just fighting Nigerians, they are fighting INEC. But at the same time, I told Nigerians that we cannot stop this fight because the president has finally passed it into law, which I said in the morning show, that it is not really completely about the president signing this, that it can still be amended, because a lot of Nigerians are already jaded, they're already tired, they are like, over to them, they've done their will, we've come out to protest, but at the end of the day, nothing happened with the protest. But I'm telling them that you can still go back, they can still go back to that particular National Assembly, if well-meaning National Assembly, the senators can actually come out and raise that motion that this can be amended and brought back to the table of the president for assenting. And the will of the people, like I said earlier, must prevail, and we will not give up on this fight. All right, because 2026 is where we set the president straight.
You know, if I'm right, the fact that we're hearing, I've also heard from Randy Peters that we can also still work on amending this particular law. And I want to ask, what would be the next line of action for Nigerians if it is not amended, if nothing is being done and this particular law just flies as it is?
There was this should I say wise man that I listened to yesterday, and he was saying that occupying National Assembly is not the only way.
Okay.
That most people, especially all these notable holders, have the addresses of these presidents of Senate House, have all the president
Senators.
of the senators.
Okay.
The president, that is Godswill Akpabio, they have the address, his house where he lives. They have address to Aso Rock. They have address to all these people that are passing all these laws. He's to occupy their houses and scream at their doors, make sure they don't sleep at night, because whether they like it or not, the wicked will not sleep until they do the right thing. So that's number one step that Nigerians can actually
taking the
take.
protest to the doorstep
of those people. Exactly, take it to the doorstep of those people, because the right thing must be done. Like I told you, Nigerians are not asking for too much. What exactly are you scared of? You have 31 governors. You come out, you boast about having 31 governors. Why is it that you cannot make use of the 31 governors? Why are you still fighting the provision in the Electoral Act? Why are you fighting it? Why not pass the electronic transmission of results, which every other state or every other country are actually making use of? What is exactly the problem? Why are you providing that proviso for that particular Electoral Act? Stop adding it. Leave it, let it flow. Nigerians are not against free and fair election. They are not against Tinubu winning second tenure, but they want to see that they voted, their votes counted, and at the end of the day, whoever comes out as the winner or emerges the winner, Nigerians will welcome it, because they see clearly that this is the people we voted and these are the people that won the election. So that is what Nigerians are asking. They are not saying P2B must win this election whether they like it or not, but they want to see if P2B is having 1,000 votes, they will see it clearly in the IREF portal. And there's another thing I said I was going to talk about this IREF portal, because they said the Senate president said it's only for it's a viewing center. A whole technological tool is a viewing center. What happens to passing that into law, so that if there is anybody that feels marginalized, if there is anybody that feels that they were disenfranchised, they could actually take the matter to court, and that IREF, the result in IREF, will be used as evidence to prove that I voted, this is the number of voting. Because this manual collation and this incident form that they are bringing in right now, I told you that 8 years ago this incident form was used to infiltrate election results. You will see a lot of communities now using incident form, electoral umpires and officials using incident form, even when we have communities or people in the community, large number of them that are not disabled, but they will use incident form and they will say that everybody there are disabled. It's the whole criminality.
The implication of this particular law is going to be more overwhelming than Nigerians think that they can even bear or stand, or they even understand. Now, I want us to link the second story to the issue going on, because it's about the National Assembly. Now, we're going over to East Asia, where we're seeing the former South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol jailed for life for paralyzing the country's National Assembly. Now, this particular story is one I wanted to, bring up and discuss, since we're discussing National Assembly laws and the drama and the chaos that has been going on for a while now. Now, we're seeing that the reason why he has been sentenced to life for paralyzing, in quote, the country's National Assembly, was because of the martial law declaration, and they said that it was a plot to paralyze the National Assembly. They also said Yoon, the former president, abruptly announced that measure and claiming it was needed to root out anti-state forces. But according to what we're hearing in court, that he wanted to use that to fight against his opponents, which is something we see in different political terrains and also in Nigeria. And they said, according to them, that he dispatched troops to the assembly and building in an effort to silence his political opponents. And further on, they said they didn't even see any sign of remorse, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. But before I even talk about what Nigerians are saying in reaction to this news, let me get your take, let me get your comment on this news.
I will start with talking little about the law. You see, the law is a respecter of no man. And I do talk about it in our shows, that according to the laws in other countries, including Nigeria, that everybody is equal to the law. Nobody should be given preferential treatment because maybe you're the president of a country, or you're the minister, or you're the governor. Everybody is equal according to the law. And if there should be anything like punishment, it should go all round, and nobody should be given, smaller or bigger punishment. So this is a president of a whole country being sentenced to life imprisonment. See, the God that did it for them, can he come down to Nigeria and do it for Nigeria? Because I had to perform little research on the allegations from the US on our our dear president. I'm seeing US narcotics money allegations about $460 million early in 1990s in Chicago. We have here charge now for certification forgery. That is his certificate. It was forged and it's coming from Chicago. I'm seeing another one here, general corruption allegations. Most claims is not single set, but a lot of people are coming out here, a lot of patronages, a lot of even Lagos era allegations, a lot of allegations. All these crimes is actually attributed to the president. Even Reuters actually brought out one here. There's Al Jazeera here. A lot of news sources. If you go in the internet, you're going to see a lot of allegations. Why is it that they are yet to investigate into this matter and bring the president, if he is found culpable, to book? Why? If it could happen in other countries, that maybe I could say to a large extent Nigeria is more developed than, why is it that we cannot have it in Nigeria? It's for you to see that the criminalities that are going on, that keep swinging around Nigeria, is more than even you and I can fathom. It's more than. Let me just put it, it is more than.
And it is, and I agree to that, because people think that because of what they see on the news that they have a full grasp of what is happening, but we really don't. I feel as though that is just the tip of the iceberg that the media is able to reveal to Nigerians and to just tell us in the little bit that they can. But going forward, right, well, we're still talking about politicians and all. We're going to take a look at a video from Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister. He has come out to make another viral statement, and we're having a look at that. When we come back, we'll have more conversations. Let's have a look.
I will do more roads for you. If you support Joshua, I'll build more schools for you. Let nobody make mistake. On Saturday, look at our format. No social. Our brother Joshua and win the election. And I will vote for him. 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 And thank God for God bless
We just came back from that video looking at the crowd and Wike addressing that crowd, talking about, of course, his support and how he's going to do this and the promises he's making to the people if they support his candidate. And it's just a whole lot, right? We're talking about politicians who for the longest have just established and occupied the spaces and have literally hijacked the spaces that they have stepped into, Wike is going to be at the top of the list when we talk about people like that. And the fact that we're seeing that a life imprisonment, right, which in my opinion is one of the greatest level of punishment that can be meted out on anyone for any crime, life imprisonment. And this is happening in South Korea. Just how backward we are in how we respect the law and how the rule of law is being honored in Nigeria. BK has just been one politician that has laughed in the face of the law. But let me get your take, Ifoma.
Okay, there is even one certain concerning what you just said right now. There is a certain, I think it should be a senator's daughter in China that was, I think she was sentenced to how many years imprisonment? A whole senator's daughter, be minister's daughter. Maybe one time after the show I will get to, so that maybe next time I can reference and talk about her name. I can mention her name. But it's to tell you that everybody is equal. There is equality before the law. No man is above the law or beneath the law. Now I'm talking about Wike. Wike really have guts. He really has effrontery. Because how can you come out and say that if you don't vote my candidate to win an election, that I will not build roads for you? So is that enticement, or is that an advice, or is that a threat? I want to be I think I just speak Igbo. I've not understood it.
And the question is it not with taxpayers' money?
Thank you.
Or is it a personal project?
That's why I'm asking, is it an advice? Is it enticement? Or is it a threat? Because I don't get. The money that you're talking about here using to build roads is taxpayers' money in the first place. And it's not even something that we should, or Nigerians should be applauding you for. Because this is the basic amenity. This is their basic right. They are not supposed to be demanding it. They are not supposed to be begging you for it. It's something that they are entitled to. So how is it that you are coming to threaten them with something that is their right? It will tell you, Sharon, that sometimes I feel like Nigeria is irredeemable. I will not lie to you. Sometimes I feel like
we need to have that hope that we're
redeemable. I feel like Nigeria
somehow.
is irredeemable, because how is it redeemable that the National Assembly earlier we had the House of Assembly that passed the mandatory e-transmission of results, and then it got to the Senate, the upper chamber, they had to change it. Now the House of Reps had to harmonize with the Senate House of Assembly, or the National, the Senate, what's it called, the upper chamber, to harmonize the entire thing. How is it that Nigeria is redeemable? How is it that Nigeria is redeemable when the judiciary, the judges that we have in Nigeria, Wike built houses, or the executive built houses for them? How is Nigeria redeemable? Really tell me, how is it redeemable that this man can come out in the public space and tell Nigerians and tell people that if you don't vote, that he will not build roads? How is it redeemable? How is it redeemable that a lot of people die on daily basis in different states, both in the east, south, north, and the president is busy attending wedding? How is it redeemable? Like, really explain it to me. Because if you talk about free and fair election, Nigerians are not seeing it anymore. That hope is literally, to a very large extent, lost. So tell me, how is Nigeria redeemable when we have the executive dancing to the drum, the legislature dancing to the drum of the executive, the judiciary dancing to the drum of the judiciary? How is Nigeria redeemable? Even God self don't tire for our matter. I'm telling you, even God is exhausted.
And I think for a lot of Nigerians, they have gotten to this point where they feel that there is no longer a need to do anything. There is no longer a need for us to even put our best or put any effort, whether it's little or it's big, or to even make an attempt, because it seems as though every time Nigerians have chosen a particular time to stand up, speak up for themselves and do something, that particular action has been spat in their faces or used against them. We saw NSAS, we saw the people that lost their lives, we saw 2023, the votes that weren't counted, we saw the people that came out for the protests, and what ended up becoming a law, what they were fighting against ended up becoming a law. And now we're seeing that we're just barely a year to the elections in 2027, and with this already in the picture, with this particular Electoral Bill Act in the picture, it just seems as though we've legalized rigging at this point. And
that's what it is.
and there's nobody has that enthusiasm anymore. But if I'm going to say anything, just because I'm on the side of a better Nigeria and I'm on the side of positivity, because I do believe that hope is a currency that we can't afford to lose. We can't afford to let it deflate, even though Naira is deflating every single day. It's because when you look at it, right, there's a question you ask: why is it that this present administration seem to be fighting to block every nook and cranny, even when they have the 31 governors in their pocket, or they have the 31 governors in their party, right? Now, the question still is it that they're scared of the people, right? Because when you see the kind of actions they're making, this particular law that was signed, if they had the confidence that they already had the people with them, they won't be making all of these moves. So it just begs, I just feel that it means that there is still something more the people can do. Let us not forget the Christian genocide and involvement of the United States in all of this that has been going on. It was not the government that called the attention of the United States, it was the people, to show you that the people still have that power, right? Especially when they come in their numbers. And I really don't think that we have gotten to that point where, when you compare what the numbers of the people in Nepal and how it seems as though there was an entire revolution, I don't think we have a large number of people who are interested in fixing Nigeria, but it's not all Nigerians. Exactly. When we get to that point where a significant number of people are waking up, coming up, showing up every single day, then we'll know if Nigeria is irredeemable. Let's just put it. Let us wait till that moment.
Exactly.
Let's see that time. Let's just see if that would still be the case. If we're not yet, we've not even scratched the surface. Then we'll tell if it don't be for Nigerians at this point. But I think for us here in the studio, you said something when you were talking. This is not the first time we're talking about, but before, we've talked about this ever since it started, and we've, in my opinion, just exhausted everything, every angle that concerns the story, and we're going to leave it to the people, right? If you have any opinion, just feel free to share it in the comment section, and we want to see what will be the reaction of people with this particular law. Of course, it's our job to keep you updated, and we'll bring up the updates to us whenever we find them. But right now, right here, this is where we have to call it a wrap on the conversation. Let's take a deep breath and hope for better as we go.
I really need it.
Yeah, we do need that fresh air. But thank you, Foma, for joining and for your contributions and the love for your country as well. And of course, so viewers, if you're viewing, I already know you're an active citizen and you have love for your country, which is why you're here and why you're viewing. We encourage you to do more and to contribute in your little way. One way you can contribute is by subscribing to the channel, because we do this every single day. There's nothing else we do here rather than talk about Nigeria and good governance and how to do better. So if you're yet to subscribe, endeavor to do that right away and follow us across all social media at Active Citizens. Till we see you tomorrow, do have a good evening. Bye-bye.